enemies. Get the DVD.
You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We're being told that as soon as John McCain or Barack Obama are elected and inaugurated coming up in late January, that Al-Qaeda is going to test America and Europe with a terror attack, or the government's going to stage more terror attacks, the shadow government, to give an excuse to the system to expand more wars, take more liberties and freedoms. We'll be talking about that, the economy with Texe Mars, and a lot more. And Texe has also done some research, and this is coming up at the end of the hour, on the Grand Poobah, the guy that says that basically anybody and everybody in the Patriot movement except him is a agent of the Vatican. Now that's pretty funny, because you're, of course, a Protestant pastor. My family helped found Texas. The Ayers family raised Colonel Travis's son. They brought in Bibles into Galveston and literally ran from the Jesuits who were trying to kill him up to Nacogdoches and then into Central Texas after that. So that's really funny as well. But we're not going to name any names today. It's just what's been discovered is very interesting. And, of course, it was obvious from the beginning, but it's become even more obvious. And so it's very important to understand that people who want to undermine movements and want to claim the people that are effectively exposing the New World Order, that we're all the agents. And notice, we are never out doing that. And then 9 times out of 10, we find out those saying this about us, they are the agents. No one's saying that the Vatican isn't very corrupt and part of the New World Order. Texe has written books on that and even been criticized by Catholic publications for that. It's just that this is a great wedge issue to try to somehow energize evangelical Christians into attacking Christian leaders like Texe Mars and others. So it's just more infighting, more divide and conquer. We won't spend too much time on that, maybe 5-10 minutes, but it should a very serious discovery that has been made. But I don't want this individual's name uttered on my show, because before I even knew who he was, he called me, emailed me a bunch like 4 or 5 years ago, and the first email I saw was, "How dare you? You've refused my interviews. You're clearly a Vatican agent. If you don't interview me within 1 week, I will expose you." And I was like, "Well, I'm not gonna do that. Though I would like you to expose the place of the Vatican in the whole New World Order with us today. We're not bashing Catholics, folks. This thing has taken over everything. But I think it's important to also show that. But then I learned this individual says I'm a white supremacist. No, it's not about me. He says he's a white supremacist. He says that blacks should be put in their own country. He says that Catholic priests do black magic rituals in aircraft and fire power beams down, that's what nuclear bombs are. And he's clearly trying to discredit the whole movement. I mean, only a 2-year-old would not see this, but I've ignored it. And then the people that are his followers, who are well-meaning idiots, I go, but do Catholic priests do black magic? I mean, is the earth on a string? He says that the earth is on a string in the center of the universe, and that they drop nukes on ley lines with Masonic power beams. I mean, you can't make this up, so that's coming up. But instead of myself babbling Texe, we're going to skip this break for the internet audience and be back for everybody else. Let's get into the economy first and the election and spend the lion's share of that. I don't like policing people, but this really is interesting when they try to police us, and they're clearly not crackpots. They're clearly there to discredit everybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, talking about the individual, and by the way, there are a number of individuals seeking to discredit everything from the 9/11 truth movement to really what we are, which is the overall truth movement, exposing the global conspiracy of the elite. And, of course, from the CIA, the Israeli Mossad, have a tremendous amount of money. And they've put into these people. There are many disinformation agents out there, but you have to watch carefully what they're doing. Usually they go to the ridiculous, and this is what they do to discredit the movement, because later you'll see them begin to be quoted. For example, the individual you're talking about went over to Israel and was on Israel national radio. So he was chosen, you see. And it turns out, and by the way, he blasts anybody, this person that you're talking about, who supposedly has been exposing the Vatican Jesuits, he will blast anyone who exposes Zionism. And I always wondered about that. It's one thing to expose the Catholic Church and the Vatican, But why does he defend
Texe,
the
hold on.
Zionists so
Hold on, Texe.
ardently?
We just went to break.
Okay.
John, I'm going to skip this break so Texe can continue, as I was saying. Okay, please continue, Texe.
Well, this individual not only has supposedly written a book, although it's a very mysterious publisher that never published a book before or after. And he claims he's not related to this publisher. But he wrote this book, and it is going to be the end-all book to expose the Jesuits. Now, I've been busy exposing the Jesuits myself for about 20 years, and I'm more than willing to welcome anyone that does this. But I got his book, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the Jesuits have done everything from killing JFK, World War I, World War II, World War III. I mean, it's almost incredible. But the big thing about this individual, he goes from the Jesuits to start attacking anyone who says that 9/11 was an inside job. Oh, they're Vatican Jesuit priest in hiding. Then he goes against, let's say, people like Constance Cumby. Now, Cumby wrote a book long time ago exposing the New Age occult movement. He says Cumby is a Vatican Jesuit. She's a Romish vixen, and which sort of made me laugh a little bit. Romish vixen. I think he took a picture of Connie about 40 years ago, and he still thinks she looks like that. That shows the depth of his research. But now this man is knocking the 9/11 truth movement, and if you expose Zionism, he is really after you. Boy, you're the one. You must be secretly a Vatican Jesuit, or you wouldn't be against Zionism. So this is his game, and I've noticed as he has attacked you, he has attacked Alfred Weber, the guy that wants to have the 9/11 tribunal to try Bush and Cheney. He's attacked him, called him a Vatican Jesuit, covert agent. He's attacked me, of course. Even though I probably have more videos, more CDs in my ministry. You can go there and just look and type in the word Catholic or Vatican. I've probably done, a dozen videos exposing the Vatican, but now I'm a Vatican agent. And it's very interesting, too, though.
Well, that's because all evil can only flow from the Vatican.
Well, yeah, that's his theory. But, of course, the Vatican does have the evil, and that's what I've been exposing, along with, by the way, the tele-evangelists and the others who are also paid by the Illuminati elite, and I've done that, too. So I've sort of looked at the whole range of false
Yeah, they've taken it all over, basically. All the big institutions, but they don't want that. But, the craziest thing is saying that they do black magic rituals to make nuclear explosions.
Well, what he does in his book and the radio programs, and he's been invited on, unfortunately, onto a number of Patriot radio programs. And they're looking for the truth, so this man seems to have some truth, you see. But then, after he's gained a little notoriety, then he starts attacking, everyone who goes against...
Hold on. We're going back to the full audience. We're going back to the full audience. Here we go.
Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Now, again, folks, we're not even in fighting here. That means fighting people who are in the Patriot movement or the Awakening movement. And I wanted to get into this later, but Texe is just getting into it now, so we can. I also want to get into the economy and your take on the election. But there are people out there, and the kingpin of this literally says that nuclear weapons, and I challenge people to counter me on this, they won't, because he's got quite a following. They do black magic rituals in Foo Fighter flying saucers. I'm not joking. And that they drop these things on ley lines, and they can only drop nukes on ley lines because that's where their black magic power works. Now, he also says the Earth is on some type of meridian, Tropic of Cancer. I don't know what that means. And it's on a string, and the Earth goes up and down on a string, and the universe orbits it. That's all. He can't believe that. That's meant to discredit what he's saying. And then blacks need to all be sent to their own country. He says, I'm a white supremacist. And then he goes and says, and we're Nazi Vatican agents who were working for the Nazis. And then again, neither one of us are Catholic. You actually married my wife and I. Know you're a Protestant.
Sure.
You're also a retired Air Force officer and a space and aeronautics professor. And I just ignore this stuff But then I did start noticing that, like, the Israeli government and people have this guy on, and then you discovered that he's actually in the pay of some of the Israeli folks, and kind of leads a double life. And that's really what I found, because I've tried to stay out of the whole Zionist thing. I've had guests on like yourself to cover it. I'm against what Israel does when they murder innocent people. I'm against some of the views there. I'm against the infiltration of our government, the spying, all that stuff. And we've made fabled enemies about it. But just because I'm trying to cover the general New World Order stuff and not get in all the fighting, I've been a little light on it. And I've tried to be more hardcore on it. But even before I got more serious on the issue, I was attacked. I mean, if you say the Israel attacked USS Liberty, which is now declassified and admitted, that is a lie. You are working for the Pope. And I mean, it doesn't matter if it's now admitted mainstream news. So I don't want to spend all day on this text, because, you're a giant in this, 20 years fighting the New World Order. I've been doing it for 13 years. And I know you've made some amazing discoveries. Others have as well about this individual. But that's what I told people privately about it. I just said, look, that's some kind of way to get to sick Protestants who've been conditioned, through the churches to worship Israel instead of Christ. And that's the new religion.
Absolutely.
And Pastor Hagee now saying Jesus isn't even the Messiah, and people say, yes, he's not. Israel, the real Messiah, is about to come to Israel. The Bible says the fake Messiah is going to come to Israel.
Absolutely.
But the point is, this is classic stuff. And so I've just pulled back from it. And but I keep expecting people to go, well, look, he says flying saucers drop nukes. But they don't.
Well, they fasten on the Vatican Jesuits. And this is a very interesting subject. 20 years ago, I exposed the Vatican, through the order of the Jesuit, infiltration of Washington, D.C., and we can go all the way back to the founding of the United States, and the Jesuits had a hand. So, it's okay to expose all these various secret societies, the Knights of Malta, the Jesuits of the Vatican, and everything. And I've been chief in doing that. And I welcome anyone else. There are many secret societies, as you know, from Freemasonry.
But you judge a tree by its fruits. You have been chief exposing that, and then someone comes out and says you're an agent.
Well, yeah, but you have to ask yourself, why did they do that? Why did this individual, why did he say Jeff Rentz of Rentz.com is a Vatican agent? Why does he say Constance Cumby, who has exposed occultism, why is she suddenly a Vatican, coadjutor of the Jesuits? Why is Alfred Weber from Canada, who has been exposing Dick Cheney and Bush in the 9/11 movement, why is he suddenly a Vatican Jesuit? Why is Pastor Butch Paul, a wonderful pastor,
a Baptist,
who's been involved exposing the New World Order? The guy was indicted even because he had the temerity to say, people write this judge and tell him what he did, ABC, was wrong, and then they come down and get this guy as a very brave patriot. Now listen. I'm going to tell you, I've exposed many people in my time, but I appreciate the patriot movement, the people who listen to this program, Alex Jones. I appreciate what you've done, and I've known you from the very, very beginning. I know your father, a great Christian man. Now, all this is nonsense. So I asked myself, who is this man? Now, I've done some investigation, but there is a website out there called ZionistChampions.com. ZionistChampions.com. And it has everything on this guy in his own words. Here's what this man who says, all I'm doing is exposing Alex Jones and Tex Mars and Alfred Weber and Constance Cumby and Jeff Rentz and Butch Paul. He's got a long list. Almost all the leaders of the 9/11 truth movement seem to be Vatican agents, which is, of course, ridiculous. But I said, and also, he really seems to despise anyone who even mentions the Israeli Mossad or the Zionist connection. Why is he so favorable and ardent toward the Zionist movement? Well, it turns out that he's a Israeli diamond merchant, okay, has his own website in which he brags that he's looking for the very wealthy who want the finest diamonds and gems cut by Israeli diamond cutters in Tel Aviv. Then it turns out he's been to Israel back and forth, meeting with various unnamed people in Israel. And as it turns out, the guy was even invited on the Tamar Yona talk show that interviews all the movers and shakers in Israel. This is Israel National Radio. I mean, this is run by the Zionists, and they invited this guy on. What was the subject of his message? Well, he's blasting the Catholic Jesuits. They're the evil people of this world. They want to destroy Israel, etc. They want to take over Jerusalem. And of course, he doesn't believe in the 9/11 truth movement. These conspiracy theorists, they're dangerous too. And by the way, the guy has gotten so popular, he was invited to the University of Oklahoma, the Hasidic Jewish group. They invited him there also to talk to them. So the guy's got a great following. And, of course, he's an Israeli diamond trader. Now, here's another thing that's dangerous.
He doesn't talk about that on air, though.
No, he doesn't let anybody know. He says, you are anti-Semite. But he doesn't tell anybody that he's an Israeli diamond merchant who brags about it on his own website. Now, here's another dangerous thing. Some of these people try to get you to commit crimes. Go bomb something. Go do this. Go do that. Kill these people. Watch out for those folks. Watch out. Here's one of the things he's done. He's got 3 different websites, by the way, this particular agent. On one of them, he brags and says, for 25 years, I have not filled out my IRS tax forms. I do not pay taxes.
Well, they've nailed you to the wall, gone after me, everybody, but not
him. He says, I have never asked for a Social Security number, and I never will. Okay, now he's sort of inviting everybody, do like I do, you see. Don't pay taxes. Don't even fill out your...
And you notice when I get on there, I tell folks, be careful. It's criminal, it's illegal, but, you know...
Yeah, taxes, let's face it, taxes are wasted. It makes us angry and all that stuff. But you got to be very careful because the IRS is just waiting.
Well, the point is, I tell people it is fraudulent, it is a scam, but you make your own decisions.
Yeah, and so he approaches it, I'm a Christian like you. I haven't paid taxes in 25 years. You don't need to pay taxes. I think he's inviting these people in. He gets a mailing list of these people.
Well, I've noticed that whatever crowd it is,
over to the IRS.
He'll come up and say, I'm a white nationalist, I'm a white supremacist. And then to another crowd, he says, I'm this, I'm that.
Exactly.
So it's different for every crowd.
Yeah, he flies to Israel, goes on Israel National Radio, and blasts Christians. Okay? And that pleases the Jews and the Zionists over there. But he comes back to America and says, I'm a white supremacist. He actually said that. He says, I'm a racist, but I'm a good racist. Okay? And then he says, the black people are culturally, intellectually, and spiritually inferior. They shouldn't even be allowed to live in the white nation. We should force them over and they have their own country, push them out. Now, think about this. Here's a guy who's an Israeli diamond trader who's claiming to be a white. He says, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a racist, but a good racist.
Well, that's like the Southern Poverty Law Center.
I just want to put them in there.
That's like Southern Poverty Law Center, and it came out in government documents. It's mainstream news now. It's been in a whole bunch of newspapers. The first one that broke it was Jesse Trinity, the lawyer, in the Salt Lake City Tribune a couple of years ago, that it turned out the Southern Poverty Law Center was running Elohim City.
Yeah. What they do is
white supremacist
they
compound.
fund many of these white supremacist groups, the Aryan nations and all the others. And then it turns out that they want them to go out and be crazy, to dress up like Hitler and to wear little funny little mustaches and go sing Heil, so that they can say, see, everyone who wants to expose 9/11 is just like that. They're all a bunch of Hitlers. They're Alex Jones. They're Vatican agents. They're Jesuits. They're anti-Semites. You see, so
that's why
one man has all these things going at once.
But see, Tex, that's why I try to talk about North American Union, the Federal Reserve being private. I don't like coming on air and having to talk about how the illegal aliens have been brainwashed to hate America and want La Reconquista. I know they're good people, so I try to stop the Planned Parenthood killing them. I don't like coming on here and bashing Catholics because the Pope's calling for a New World Order, but I have to talk about it, but I'm not trying to make it a hate thing. And I don't like, and I know a lot of Jews in Israel hate what's happening and it's diverse over there, but I know the Zionists are part of the New World Order and pushing it, so I have you on to talk about it. And then I get the crowd that thinks Israel's the center of all evil, who gets mad that I don't go far enough. The point is that I'm just trying to get everybody to work together against tyranny, and there are these people who are just completely out of control.
Yes. Well, here's the whole thing. What you want is an America. You want to enforce immigration laws. And you know that they're going to use these Mexican illegal aliens and the ones from Central America against America. Okay? And this is what we despise and what we fight against. But we don't oppose the individuals at all. We're Christians. I believe whosoever will may come. That means anyone of any race. But listen, they want a black-white race war. They want the Mexicans to try this reconquista and to kill white people and to set up this Aztlan empire of the South.
And they talk about it, and I'm supposed to act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you've got to expose this, because I'll tell you, many Mexicans, many black people, and white people are going to be victims. They want us to fight amongst ourselves while the Illuminati elite grab everything.
And they control all the major groups, and their agents always want to make it only one group so we don't see the entire attack pattern.
Oh, absolutely. Listen.
Stay there. We got a break.
Yeah.
We're going to skip this one, too, for the internet audience. We'll be back for everybody else in 4 minutes with Texe Mars. Infowars.com is the website. We'll give you his websites as well. And Texe, I do want to get into the election, which you originally and what's happening with the
so
economy
much on the agenda, Alex.
And then this wicked devil right here,
King Henry Paulson.
I just messed up your notes here because I want you to be able to run through all this. But I'm sorry for messing that up.
Oh,
but I mean, since we got into this early, go ahead and finish up with it.
Well, I think we have to be very careful. We oppose illegal aliens coming into America. We oppose 40 or 50 million. And that's really what it is, even though they say it's only 12 million. They kept that figure for years and years. But Bear Stearns, which may be one of the reasons they went out of business, actually did a report 2 years ago in which they said there were as many as 35 million illegals in America.
No, the banking and brokerage numbers were 35 million 3 years ago.
So we want to keep America for Americans. There's nothing wrong with being America first. And by the way, if you live in Mexico,
it's going to bankrupt all of the hospitals, all the city services. It's already happened.
Absolutely.
But see, if we made the revolution stay down there, they'd take their country back. We're being used as a steam valve. It hurts them. It hurts us.
Well, I hope we won't go into too much this individual.
It's very
He's only one of many disinformation agents.
No, but one of the most effective. But I mean, going back to what you just said about the illegal aliens, it hurts my heart. Because it's the same thing. I don't like going on air and talking about how the Vatican's calling for world government and New World Order, because I know unsophisticated people who are Catholics will think I'm bashing them. I don't like coming on air and saying Pat Robertson said China's having to have abortion. I lost a couple of radio affiliates. He said it on CNN, and I said it's wrong for Pat Robertson to say abortion's good in China, which he did. And those affiliates said, hey, we don't like you talking about Pat Robertson. Apologize, you're off the air. That was in Florida. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't be for abortion. So, the point is, I have to bash the Protestant leaders who are controlled. I have to bash the Catholic leaders who are controlled. I have to bash the Jewish leaders who are controlled. I mean, when I bash the British government as one of the top levels of this, I'm not bashing the British people. My name's Jones. Your name's Mars. You're Scottish. I mean, the point is that's the key. They control through the roundtable groups, the governments and the major religions, and then they control it through that. You're giving them wide spectrum, the kingdom of the cults. You're showing them how it's happening, and that's what the agents never want that. They want to make it, and that isn't just on the Catholic side. They want to make it just about Zionist or just about, and it's bigger than that.
Alex, let's just look at the Council on Foreign Relations, which I believe is almost an aristocracy of the elite in the political and economic worlds. All the top CEOs, all the banking investment people, members of the Council on Foreign Relations. Now, the CFR itself, and this was in their Foreign Affairs Journal that comes out, they have established a religious round table. You have to understand this is political, economic, and spiritual. Now, guess who the head, the chairman of the religious round table is? None other than Henry Kissinger. Now, at the same time, Pope Benedict, believe it or not, has appointed Henry Kissinger
as his advisor,
as his political advisor.
And Tony Blair has become Catholic, so he can be the future head of Europe, and that was admitted. And we said, if he's going to be the new EU chief in the future, he'll have to become Catholic, and he did that because they admit the EU is a, quote, Vatican political body. So it's definitely at the heart of it. You write books saying that,
absolutely,
and you're a wicked devil.
Well, yeah, but wait, Henry Kissinger doesn't stop with the Vatican. That's not enough. I mean, we have several hundred million Protestants in this world. I should say ex-Protestants. They don't even say they're Protestants now. They're evangelicals, okay, Christian evangelicals. So the religious round table of the CFR has to reach out to them, too, and bring them within its fold. Guess what? Rick Warren, okay, who has been called America's pastor, is now a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and is a member of Henry Kissinger's religious round table. So they don't care if you're a Protestant.
Hold on, we're going back live to full audience. Full audience. Here we go. Texe, they've got several subgroups to control Christian Republican groups. One of them's the Something Policy Center. You were just talking about the nexus points with Henry Kissinger over the Catholic group, the Religious Roundtable group over the Protestant group, how he's over all these groups together up at the top. What's the name of that big group that has a lot of the Christian conservative leaders, and they meet in secret every year?
Well, there's a Council on National Policy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then
that is weighted mostly to the Catholic side. The head of Coors Brewing and all that, the beer company. All of those people are part of that group. James Dobson is also part of that. The old 700 Club, its leaders, Fournier and others, were all Catholic. So a lot of those people are part of that group. But what I was talking about now was the Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR.
It has a religious roundtable.
Yeah, people don't think of it as a spiritual organization. Now, you have to understand, they take everybody into their fold who's part of this global and anti-American conspiracy. They have taken LULAC, okay, the Latin group. They have taken MALDAF, okay, all of these anti-American pro-illegal immigration movements. They are now members of the CFR, but they've gone beyond that. They have set up, and they had a big issue, special edition of Foreign Affairs, their journal, the CFR, and they said, we have established a religious roundtable. And listen to who are members of it. Catholic cardinals, but wait, also Rick Warren, okay, of Saddleback Community Church, who is supposedly a Christian evangelical, the guy that wrote The Purpose-Driven Church that was #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. They even said in the Foreign Affairs Journal that John Hagee and the pro-Israel movement needs to be brought into our fold. We need to bring all of these people in too. You see, so this is not a Catholic Protestant situation. They simply want to bankrupt the morality of all the Christian establishment. That's what they've done. I want people to understand. There is a Christian church, but it's not the televangelist. It's not the Vatican. And I call it the mom and pop church. I mean, many of them have to meet in their homes now because the entire Christian establishment has been exposed as corrupt. This goes back a long time.
Meanwhile, we have the movie W, making it all the evil George Bush did was because he was a Christian. He's born again. Can you speak to that? I mean, all the gay prostitutes, Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove, all the mean things Bush does, and then they act like he's this loving idiot savant. He just did it all because evil Christians got control of him.
Well, let's look at it from the Illuminati elite standpoint in this election, and you'll see what's going on. Okay, McCain and Palin have the Christian evangelicals and all of the traditionals. And you say, oh, thank God for them. Thank God for Sarah Palin. But hold on. Now, on the other side, you've got the liberal groups, maybe even all the way over to the Islamic secret agents of Obama and Biden. And, of course, Biden is Catholic. So there you have the Catholic Muslim factions. So they seem to be putting these two great forces at odds with each other. But watch out. Let me tell your audience about something. Okay? First of all, you have to understand that Sarah Palin was chosen by Zionist billionaires in Israel before McCain even knew her name. In fact, I can show you. We were talking about the Tamar Yonah show, one of the most popular talk shows on Israel National Radio. Guess what? They had a 2-hour special on Sarah Palin right after she was made governor of Alaska. They said, we have a Zionist pro-Israel person as governor, and they forecast a great future for her. Now, there are 50 states in America. Probably 49 of the governors are pro-Israel, right? Because it pays to be, because of the powerful Israeli lobby. Why did Israel National Radio, the Tamar Yonah show that interviews all the movers and shakers, why did they have a 2-hour special bringing Sarah Palin in? Sarah Palin herself said, I only have one flag in my office as governor of the state of Alaska, the flag of the nation of Israel. Why did she, when she had the debate with Palin, say, I love Israel, Joe Biden, and I'm glad to know that you support Israel? Why, when Charlie Gibson asked Sarah Palin, what will you and McCain in Washington, D.C. do if Israel starts, basically, he didn't say the word, but World War III by invading Iran? She says, we would not second guess our ally Israel. In other words, it's okay with us, whatever they do. Although it will bring America into World War III, it will probably mean gasoline at $25 a gallon. And of course, the rich of the world would love that. They're going to buy those oil futures. They drove it up one time to $147 a barrel. Now they love to see it at $300, $400, $500 a gallon. It'll mean 20 or 30 million Americans out of work. What do they care? We're peons anyway, third world nation, and they will profit from our poverty.
Wow, Texe Mars is fired up today. I tell you, stay there. We're going to take this break. We'll be back in 3 short minutes with Texe Mars. I want to talk some about your new book as well. Texe Mars is in studio with us. I hope you'll go to INFOWARS.com and get Mysterious Monuments. I'm holding it up on TV, the size of the Austin phone book. And we're going to talk some about this before he leaves us. It's part 2. He did another book, Codex Magica, part 1. It's the same size. We carry both at INFOWARS.com and some of his other books and videos at INFOWARS.com. And this will really wake people up, and he covers it all. He covers the corruption in every group and how they're all just factions of the New World Order. It's all available, again, at InfoWars.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. You can ask him about Mysterious Monuments, Codex Magica, the other books and videos we carry from Texe Mars at 888-253-3139. Texe, you've got quite a stack of notes and information there, but just finishing up, I mean, to see the New World Order try to get me to join one faction or the other by pushing me into it's all this group or it's all that group, they really hate it when we expose and know that all these major groups are being controlled and show those nexus points. They cannot stand that, and they want to sell the public on, I'm saying 4 or 5 New World Order guys are robbing the bank, 4 or 5 major groups. You're saying the same thing, and they try to tell people, oh, they're giving aid and comfort to this group or that group. No, we're explaining that there's evil in high places all over the place, and they're all co-equally guilty in all of this. But I think this individual didn't make it public, this particular disinfo agent, that they were basically this officer of Israel. And so that's going to be, I think, a big problem for them.
Absolutely. And listen, in Mysterious Monuments, I want to make it very plain here. If you want to see the broad range of this, let me tell people a secret. If they haven't got this book, and they may have even missed it, there's 875 photos and over 600 pages here. But let me reveal something about the Illuminati elite. There are 2 things that are very important to them, believe it or not, and that is death and money. Not their death, but your death. They actually believe in blood sacrifice. And they believe it is a holy thing that gives them a great Luciferian energy power. Now, let me explain something to people. You say, this is crazy, Texe. Are you saying that people like Kissinger and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all of these other, the richest people in the world, you're saying they're interested in blood sacrifice? Yes, let me go a little further. Go to New York City, all right? There are 2 buildings of interest that are pictured in this book. One is the Standard Oil Corporation building. Okay, it was built by John D. Rockefeller, who founded this incredible oil cartel that has now spiraled into Exxon, Mobil, Conoco, Phillips, and so forth. All right? Now, with this vast power around the world, corporate and money power, this oil, dictatorship almost. Now, think about this. It looks like a normal skyscraper, the Standard Oil building, but on top of it, they have built, get this, a great Greek temple pyramid. It is exactly the recreation of the mausoleum or the tomb of King Mausolus of ancient Greece. What is the meaning of it? Well, you see, the very word mausoleum comes from King Mausolus, who built this fabulous pyramid-shaped tomb for he and his wife in ancient Greece. It's in ruins today. But Rockefeller believed that he had to build this tomb on top of his skyscraper Standard Oil building. Now, but that's not all. Travel down the street to the financial district, and there is another building, a huge skyscraper. It is a bank building. It is the Bankers Trust building that's owned by the Reichman family, one of the richest Illuminati dynasty families from out of Canada, but it's in the United States, in New York City. And guess what is on top of the Bankers Trust building? And I have a picture of it. The tomb of Mausolus. They built it there too. But wait, I'm not finished. Let's go to the House of the Temple, the Scottish Rite, the largest Masonic group in the world, their headquarters, numerologically, according to a cult figuring, 13 blocks from the White House. And guess what the architect John Pope designed it as? Of course, the tomb of Mausolus. But wait, I'm not finished. The tomb of Mausolus, I have a picture of it. Okay, they worship the devil inside of it. Now, but I'm not finished. Go to North Vietnam and go to and say, I want to see where Ho Chi Minh, the great communist leader who kicked out the French and the Americans, I want to go to his tomb. Guess what? They've designed it as the tomb of Mausolus. But I'm not finished. I'm not finished. Let's go to Russia. You think Lenin was just a communist? No. He was a Marxist, Leninist, Freemason, member of the Illuminati secret societies. That's why he believed in blood. That's why he believed in killing millions of people through his gulags. And what if you go and visit the great, where his body lies in state, and they keep it with all kind of fancy olive oils and all kind of things to try to keep it, still looking like him under glass. I mean, he's a pickled dead man, okay, at the Lennon Museum. But guess what? You'll be surprised. It's the tomb of Mausolus, recreated. Now, why is this important? Why then did Obama, when he was given the nomination in his acceptance speech at Denver's Mile High Stadium, they set up the backdrop so that it appeared as a Greek a temple. New York Stock Exchange. What kind of building do you think that they run around in there cheating and plundering the people of America?
No, it's a temple.
It's a Greek temple with a great goddess and devil pedophile men reaching down to grab children on each side of her. You think I'm kidding you? I'm telling you, that's the New York Stock Exchange.
No,
building,
it's all in.
Temple.
It's all in Mysterious Monuments.
Mysterious Monuments.
Tell them about the guy that built the stuff in Tennessee, and then there was these rumors about what was in the pyramid. When they got into it, it really was there.
Well, Isaac Tegret was head of the founder, a multimillionaire of Hard Rock Cafes. Now, these T-shirts that run around the kids wear, and they have a great big sun sign. They're just a big sun that says Hard Rock Cafe, because he worshiped the great sun god, or I believe Lucifer. Mr. Tegret went over to Egypt, and he bribed guards. This is by his own testimony. This was in the American Airlines in-flight magazine, by the way. They had a picture of him, and I show that in this book. He went to Egypt, and he bribed the security guards to let him spend the night alone deep inside the bowels of the pyramid, in the king's chamber, where the empty stone sarcophagus or coffin is. He said that in the deep of night, deep inside the
that's
bowels...
where Crowley did that too.
Aleister Crowley, the great British Satanist, did the very same thing. The man who called himself the Beast, 666. So Isaac Tegret did this, and he said at midnight, a great light came to him. Okay? Now, I knew what this was. In the ancient mystery religions, they call this the sun at midnight. It's an occult ritual.
Black sunshine.
Yeah. And this great light came and illuminated the king's chamber, and a voice told him, Isaac Tegret, you must go to the United States, to the city of Memphis, the sister city of Memphis in Egypt, and build a great American pyramid like this one. He did it. He went to Memphis. Here this multimillionaire went, and he teamed up with the head of the Denver basketball team, Sidney Schlenker, whose wife was arrested for drugs, but that's all another cocaine and everything. That's another story. But they got together with the city fathers of Memphis, and they built the Great American Pyramid. Now, many people began this rumor, this gossip. These crazy people, these conspiracy theorists, said that at the very apex of that building, that Isaac Tegret had placed a small a steel box, a secret little box, about the size of a cigar box. And in it was something that would prove that that building was dedicated to the devil. Well, everybody laughed about it, even the mayor and the city council, but it got so bad, because Memphis has a big history of voodoo and such there in Tennessee, that city of Memphis. They said, we've got to dispel the rumors. They took a huge crane in there, believe it or not, spent thousands of dollars, went all the way to the top, to the apex, and said, look for a box that's supposedly welded to the girders right at the top of the pyramid. They found it. He had paid workmen. There was a box. They took it down. This was in the Commercial Appeal, the Memphis news.
Yeah, you have that in the book.
Absolutely. Have a picture of Tigret giving his Illuminati hand signs, secret hand signs, by the way, hand signs, and as above, so below. But listen to this. When the city fathers, with the cameras whirring, opened it up, they found a velvet pouch. And they opened it up, and there was a crystal skull. A crystal skull. And there were some other artifacts in there, too. So, again, many buildings are dedicated to devils. Now, I want to tell people something. They won't believe this, but it's true. Underneath the U.S. Capitol building, and remember, the great goddess of where? Greece stands atop it, okay? The great goddess of the ancients stands atop our Capitol, and she was placed there in 1860 because that is numerologically coded as 666 in the occult numerological calculations. But underneath the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol building, there is a crypt. And there is a wrought iron area and a recess, and there is a stone sarcophagus. Just like deep in the bowels of the pyramid, it's underneath.
Well, by the way, I've had secular academics on from Canada and other places where they talk about the Capitol buildings there. But
in Winnipeg.
I mean, in 666 calculations, it's got a sarcophagus, and they admit they shut it down and do rituals in there.
Now, Obama figures into this. You see, according to the Illuminati elite, they have two scenarios. Either one is workable, according to how they can rig the election, the voting machines and such. They have McCain and Palin on one side, and McCain will step down. If he becomes president, he will step down because of his illness. Palin will be the new Esther of Israel. There's some ramifications there we won't talk about now, but she has been chosen for that very purpose, okay? Now, on the other side, if Obama and Biden get in, they have things working out there. You know, Joe Biden, and you quoted him earlier, Joe Biden gave a speech yesterday in which he talked about this great event that is going to occur.
By the way, just up on PrisonPlanet.com, just broken. Colin Powell warns of coming crisis we don't even know about yet. European Union head, British head, they say a huge attack is coming as soon as he gets inaugurated to test them and to test us.
Yeah.
So these guys, just like 9/11, they said
prepared.
Get ready. That's why I went on air and said they'll probably attack the World Trade Center. I mean, not even hard to predict. Mm-hmm. They are getting us ready, Tex.
They are. Now, Biden said, not only they're going to attack, they're going to test Obama, but he said for Obama, this task will be as if he is going to be forced or given the mission of cleaning out, now get this, the Aegean stables. What was that all about? The Aegean stables.
Hercules.
He's going to be the new Hercules, the son of Zeus. That's the reason for
and again, just like they called the bombing thing in Iraq shock and awe.
Shock and awe.
And I mean, explain that. I mean, they are obsessed with religion. And I notice all the New Agers and stuff, they'll claim they're atheists and attack me. And they always attack Christianity, but then you find out very soon that most of the atheist groups, they're openly occultists. They don't even hide it. So they say, your stuff doesn't exist, but our God does.
Well, think of communism. You think of them as the ultimate in atheism. And yet Karl Marx's own, he's the father of it all, right, with his theology, his ideology of Marxism, in his books Das Kapital and the Communist Manifesto. But Marx, his own housekeeper said, in his apartment, had a small room set aside and had black candles and would put one of these Jewish prophylactic things around his head and would worship the devil. He was a devil. They have a God, all right, but it's not our God. It's the devil. And this devil is tied to all of these ancient mystery religions of Greece, Rome, Babylon, and so forth. But I want people to understand this. The Aegean stables that Biden says Obama is going to be tested and have to clean out, this is from the 12 labors of Hercules. And one of them, he was so powerful, he diverted the waters and this great river, and the waters came forth, and they cleaned out the stables. So the great waters, the dangers, and of course this all relates.
And he's also saying
to Bible prophecy.
And he's saying he's going to have carbon taxes. He's saying he's going to bring in regulating every facet of our lives, controlling us. I mean, people are thinking, oh, change, regardless of what happens. We're about to see, folks, all the craziness you've seen. This is nothing compared to what's going to happen now. I mean, from a secular perspective, it's bad enough. And these people are occultic nutcases. I mean,
well, they are. You know, people
we're
out
not,
there may say, Alex, I'm not religious. I'm not spiritual. I don't like. Why don't you just stick with politics and economics? Hey, it's not us to set up the religious round table with Henry Kissinger and Rick Warren, America's so-called pastor, number one New York Times
on the
bestseller.
Bohemian Grove headquarters in San
that.
Francisco, it's guys in hoods carved in stone with a baby throwing it in the fire.
Yeah, worshiping a great god, Moloch, who, by the way, was the great god of credit and money.
Yeah.
Back in the Canaanites.
That was the big bull.
The
and then occultists always have double and triple meanings. We know that it's not an owl, but they're calling it Moloch and saying it's an owl.
You have to understand there's always a feminine and a masculine aspect.
No, I know that, but then all the occultists get mad at me for talking about it. So, but being in the hidden, none of them ever attack me on criticizing it. They make up lies and say I'm wrong and don't understand the occult. Just like I had the Bohemian Grove Action Network and other people get real mad at me for talking about they were doing rituals there. They said, stick to the politics. And then we showed up and saw the local leaders with the witch's pot. It's in order of death, doing their own spell with the state police guarding them. So they always say, oh, be an atheist. And you show up and they're,
well, they're opposed to Christianity. That's why. And actually, they hate Islam. And let me go even one step further. They hate the Old Testament God of the Jews, too. So let's go to all the monotheistic religions.
That's right. To be clear,
they must all be ended.
Let's be clear. The Jews were captured and brought into Babylon. That's where they got.
That's right.
The Talmud and the Zoroaster and the all those other books.
Yeah, and even brought in the worship of Moloch and all of these false gods. And that's why Jesus said,
Zohar. What's the other ones?
Well, there's the Zohar, which is the book of splendor. There's a number of Kabbalistic books.
But that's all post Old Testament. That's
But they brought it together. Albert Pike, who wrote the classic Masonic textbook, Morals and Dogma, said that Jewish Kabbalism is the very foundation of Freemasonry. So all of these things, and the ancient mystery religions, they all come together. You mentioned this nexus. There is a nexus. There is an intersection of evil in which all of these groups, political, economic, and spiritual, come together. Now let's get back to this Obama. Is he going to be the great leader of Sparta, the great god of the Greeks? And is this the reason why in Mysterious Monuments I point out that the Greek, I have Greek friends.
We have major newspapers now saying he's like Jesus. Biden's saying he's worshiping him.
When he was in Berlin and gave that great speech before hundreds of thousands of Berliners, they made sure the backdrop was the great phallic pole with the great goddess Victory. Okay, on top of it. So this is very symbolic. Everything is symbolic. And we have to keep in mind that these people are deep into symbology, and these things have meaning for them.
By the way, years ago, you said Madonna was doing rituals on stage. They laughed at you. Now she admits it's been rituals for over a decade. We'll be right back. The elite loves telling us big stuff's coming in the future, big terror attacks. It's a message to all their cronies that it's an inside job. They love to throw it in our face right now on prisonplanet.com. Very important article. Colin Powell warns of coming crisis we don't even know about, because now the public will see Obama as somebody new, and then, we've been hit again by terrorists. We've got to take even more freedoms and liberties. So incredible to see this. You were just showing me during the break one of the mausoleums of Mausolus, one of the largest banks in the world, is taking a new path to intercept the future. And, there it is from their own ad, showing everyone. You were making a point about Greece when we went into the break.
Think about this, though. Death and money. Talk about a nexus, death and money. So here is an actual tomb atop the Banker's Trust building. Actually, it's a Greek temple atop that. In the Bible, it's interesting. The book of Daniel says the last day's world kingdom, okay, the last day's new world order, and its leader will come out of not Egypt, not even Israel, but Greece. That sort of doesn't say that he will be racially Greece, but the kingdom will have sort of a Grecian theme, the way Obama had the Grecian backdrop when he accepted
And all the West
nomination.
monuments are like that.
Yeah, so this Greek thing, one of the top occultists in the world is a man named Jeffrey Hodson. He wrote a book called The Brotherhood of Angels and Men. He's talking about dark angels, of course, and how men should communicate with them. And his spirits, these demons, told him, we are Greece reincarnate. Now, I think that's sort of an interesting thing. But wait, the Zionists have brought back the mystery religions, because just as you well stated, even Jesus said, he noted that they came from Babylon, and the Babylonians and the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians all had basically the same religion. They worshiped the unholy Trinity, the Father, Son, God.
And that's how no matter what group it is, it's the same religion.
Absolutely. And that's why Zeus is actually Neptune or Poseidon. That's why the goddess is not only in her guise as the Statue of Liberty, but the Statue of Freedom atop the U.S. Capitol building. And she has been called the goddess of 1,000 names, by the way. So you see her statue everywhere. Mother Russia has a great goddess statue. There's a great goddess inside a rebuilt Greek temple to Athena called the Parthenon in Nashville, Tennessee. And you'll remember that the Vanderbilt family had a lot to do with
It's always the
that
rich
kind of thing.
elites that build these temples.
Absolutely.
We go, oh, what a nice building. They're just everywhere.
Well, Vanderbilt built the Grand Central Terminal. He was a railroad magnate. He built the Grand Central Terminal in New York City, which is a great Greek temple. And the great god Hermes is atop it. And by the way, he's holding, he was also called Mercury, and he's holding the caduceus, the two serpents, yin and the yang, as above, so below, with a phallic pole in his hand. And that stands this great statue of Hermes or Mercury, this great god from the Roman Egyptian pantheon of gods, stands atop the Grand Central Terminal, a railroad station, which has been made in sort of a museum now, in New York City, overlooking the great city, just as the Greek temple and the great goddess overlook Wall Street. So we have to understand that these mystery religions are tied in with the Illuminati elite, and everything has been set out. There is an agenda. Now, this great event that's going to occur, I want people to understand something. Remember, Biden said, we're going to have to clean out the Aegean stables. Okay? It's one of the labors of Hercules, the great god who was the son of Zeus. Now, in front of the Rockefeller Center in New York City is a great statue of the son of Zeus. And in stone on the wall of the Rockefeller Center there in New York City is a great image carved in stone of Zeus. And he's holding the Masonic compass in his hand, surveying the whole globe. So you find this Zeus and you find his son.
Stay there, Tex.
Okay,
Final
everywhere.
segment. We're going to be back in 1 minute with Tex Mars. In fact, John, let's go ahead and skip this break. I want to talk just 1 minute with Tex, and we'll come back to the full audience in 70 seconds. Man, Tex, this went by too quick.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. But it's fun.
Well, I can do this. I can hold you to 15 after, and then I just won't be able to walk you out. I can just say bye to you.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to do it that way?
Let's do that.
Okay. Do me a favor, John. Call Webster Tarpley right now, and just say we're going to call him about 10 after, that we're behind. Will you do that for me, John?
I sure will.
Fantastic, because I want to let Tex finish up. He's got all these notes we haven't even gotten to. Maybe just rapid fire, go through those for everybody that is out there.
You know, we need to talk about that great event that Colin Powell says is going to occur.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Joe Biden says is going to occur. Remember that Colin Powell this weekend, when he endorsed Obama for president, called him a transformational.
No, that's what
president.
they're all saying. Yeah,
that's right.
We're going into the transformation.
That's right.
And they need to get the left and the Hispanics, blacks, and others. He's seen worldwide as, the racist Americans have got a black guy. Again, it's just a front or a cover. And then they believe that he'll be able to get by with much more than an old white guy would be able to. I really think it's going to be Obama. I may be proven wrong. Here we go. We are now into hour number 4. Webster Tarpley coming up in about 12, 14 minutes from now, continuing with the election discussion. Whether you believe in this or not, we are secularly, Tex and I have to be Christians, but that doesn't, quote, taint our view, as some would say. We are just analytically, like anthropologists, studying, like we were studying, say, ancient China. What did the Ming Dynasty worship? Well, they were these pantheists, or they were these animists, or they were Buddhist, or whatever they were. The point is, we are just reporting on the mindset of the elites. If you're tracking serial killers, you study what the serial killer's beliefs are. And if you're tracking somebody else, we're studying this. They are deep occultists. They are obsessed with it. It's all they do. It's all they spend time doing. Texe, this great event that Colin Powell and Joe Biden and the media and the British Prime Minister and the European leaders, they say something huge is coming. We know what it is, but we won't tell you. And the media says, oh, gee, okay, we won't even ask what it is, because they all know how to be good little minions. Texe Mars, what is this big event, do you think?
Well, we have to look at what Obama has been aiming for, okay? Now, Brzezinski is one of his handlers. Brzezinski, of course, was head of the National Security Council under Jimmy Carter. Remember the CFR, the trial. In fact, he co-founded the Trilateral Commission with Rockefeller. And he is a hater of Russia. Now, they have developed a new stable of enemies, okay? These are the new enemies. Just like 1984, ever so often they have a new stable. Could talk about the Aegean stables. Well, here's the new stable of enemies. It's Pakistan. Remember, this is an Islamic nation of 170 million people.
This is the government that Israel, the U.S., and England gave nukes to.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and now, big problem.
Well, the problem is that an Islamic nation, okay, has nukes. Now, Musharraf was basically kicked out, forced out, and now the husband of Benazir Bhutto, he's a very weak man, but he's a good man, he is the new president of Pakistan. But he is not pro-America or pro-Israel or pro-Illuminati.
Enough.
That's right. Now, Benazir Bhutto, the lady who was assassinated.
They machine gunned her on TV and said she hit her head.
Yeah.
Just like Kennedy. Yeah. They should have just said Kennedy hit his head.
She had gone on the David Frost show just several weeks before.
And said Bin Laden's been dead. It's all staged.
Bin Laden is dead. Bin Laden is dead. The same people that killed him are now wanting to kill me. But Bin Laden is needed as to be the boogeyman, as Ahmadinejad is needed.
The excuse to go into Pakistan.
That's right. Next year, Ahmadinejad is leaving office. He's very unpopular. And by the way, he is an elected leader. He's not a dictator. And it looks like he will be kicked out of office. But they need him, as well as bin Laden, to be the two boogeymen of the world. So I believe that Pakistan and Russia and Iran are all going to figure in this great transformational event.
And that's going to be war.
Oh, it's going to be World War III. And by the way, what we're going to see.
And by the way,
now,
we kept saying they're going to attack Iraq. They're going to attack Iraq, and they said, "Oh, shut up! You keep saying it's this month or next month." No, we don't. We say they're gearing up. They've said they're going to do it. And
yeah.
But I'm saying previously we said Iraq, and they ended up doing it, and they're gearing up to do. They just snuck attack Russia through Georgia. So, folks, this is serious.
Well, the new Prime Minister of Israel has yet to take office. Zippy Livni, I think her name is. She's the foreign minister, has been. She's a Likudnik all the way. She's for bomb Iran. The Beach Boys. She could sing a little duet with McCain if he were in office. So she is a very deadly person. If she doesn't get it, of course, if Netanyahu somehow slides in there, he again is a Freemason. He has admitted, I was initiated into Freemasonry when he went to the university here in the United States. So we have these Likudniks who want to go to war right away. But more than that, we have the Kabbalistic rabbis behind this. And they have a great agenda of the ages to bring forth a new order of the ages.
And remember, the head rabbi said that Bush told him privately, "Don't worry, Iran will be attacked."
Yes. Now, they believe that the West, the leader of the West, is the head of Gog and Magog. Now, this may sound strange, these names, Gog and Magog, but that's in the Bible in Ezekiel 38. They believe the role of the West, the role of the leaders of the West, is to attack in the Middle East, to smash all the enemies of Israel.
Stay there,
but
Texe.
in turn be smashed themselves.
Okay, we're going to skip this break, too. Go ahead. I just have to skip breaks. We're going to have you continue.
Okay.
You don't have headphones on. Did you talk to Tarpley? John?
He's waiting in the wings. He's going to hold till you're done with
Okay, we're going to come back to him in the next break for Webster. Okay, finish up with what you were saying.
Well, we're going to see definitely a transformational event. And certainly Obama will be tested. But it'll all be a staged event, okay? Everything is in place now. All the pieces of the puzzle. It's like a great Broadway production, and they bring in this actor and that actor and this backdrop, and the curtains are ready, and of course, everything's set up to go. This is the deal with Obama, and it'll happen even if McCain and Palin get in. But I agree with you, it'll probably be Obama because he's younger, he's more capable, he's ready to go.
He can sucker the public. He can sucker the public better.
And Americans are always on a honeymoon with the new president. They give him a certain amount of time.
And McCain's kind of seen as a Bush 3.
Yeah, McCain is a Bush 3. He's older. This guy's more vigorous. He is ready to go. And so when this transformational event that will catapult him into becoming a transformational president, this great event occurs. It will literally be something so amazing. It will make 9/11 look puny.
Well, they're saying it's going to be nukes. That's in AFP today.
Yeah.
They're saying we're going to get hit by nukes. Now, I don't know if that's the case.
It will probably, if they blame it on Hezbollah or the Al Qaeda and say that Iran and Syria masterminded it, it will be discovered by the intelligence agencies that Putin and Russia and somehow the ISI, the intelligence agency of Pakistan, were involved. These are the new enemies of the New World Order. But guess what? They have nukes. This will be World War III, and it will end with horrible, horrible destruction. So don't even think about Wall Street. I see a little blimp upward. I see a little sucker rally for people to get
dead
involved
cat
in it.
bounce.
The dead cat bounce. That's right. They throw it off of the Bankers Trust building, the tomb of Mausolus down on Wall Street below, and it bounces. One big bounce. People get in. They say, everything is over. Everything is going to be great again. And by the way, one of the things that they're doing is driving the price of oil down now. They drove it up, and now the same people, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, their analysts are putting out reports. Oil is going to go down.
I was reading that upwards of 90% of the oil speculation was driven by Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. They're the only two left standing, by the way, with the great big
so we also have
this, of death on Wall Street.
We have this vertical integration happening.
Yeah, and Goldman Sachs, you have Henry Paulson there. And by the way, before him, the Clinton administration had Robert Rubin, who came from what Wall Street firm?
Goldman Sachs.
Well, Goldman Sachs. And Mr. Neil Kashkari. Okay.
Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs. Of course, there they are.
Hold on. Final segment. We're going to Tarpley here in a moment. Here we go.
On the GCN Radio Network.
In just a couple minutes, we're going to Webster Tarpley for the rest of the hour. Really appreciate him joining us to track what's happening with the election. Wow, Texe Mars and Webster Tarpley agreeing that Obama is the New World Order's man. I tell you, it's getting crazier and crazier. Get his book, Mysterious Monuments, what these nuts are into, at INFOWARS.com. Amazing book we've been talking about. Or call toll-free to get it, 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. And you'll be able to watch this video we're doing live right now at prisonplanet.tv. That's posted for the members there as well. Just in 2 minutes closing, and for Tarpley, I want to get his comment on this as soon as you leave us. Colin Powell, Gordon Brown, we've got Nicolas Sarkozy, we've got the Israeli leaders, we've got Joe Biden all saying massive terror attack, probably nuclear. That's what AFP is reporting today, is going to happen to test Obama. Oh, they're testing us. Are we going to get toughened and have bigger wars? And, we can sit here and smile about it because, we got good cheer. And I laugh because it's so crazy. But God help us, because they need something to start World War III, and they need a global meltdown to bring in their New World Order. So closing comments on that, Texe Mars.
Well, I'm convinced this is a prophetic scenario right out of Ezekiel 38 and 39. But it's interesting that they're the ones playing out this scenario. It's almost like they're compelled. They have to do it. They're obsessed with this framework.
Well, look at how they're bringing in the implantable microchips. Look at how the mark to buy and sell. I mean, they just can't help it.
No, they can't help it, and that's why it's going to occur. And by the way, leave you with one thing: Gog and Magog, these mysterious devil demons that bring the whole world into catastrophe with war in the last days. In London, England, at Guildhall, where the mayor of England is, they have erected statues inside this. They have an actual chapel or sanctuary in London, England, and they have secret rituals there. at Guildhall, they have erected statues of the idols Gog and Magog. You say that's incredible. They're in Roman the warrior uniforms, and they have been placed behind or next to the altar in the chapel of Guildhall. People, you don't believe it? Go to Google and type in Gog, Magog, London, Guildhall. They actually have idol statues of Gog and Magog. And it's ready to go.
And the point is here, folks, just from a secular perspective, these nuts really are into the occult. They really do believe all of this. Elites always go insane throughout history. It is now happening. And folks can get a copy of your gorgeous newsletter for free each month. Give folks the number to call and get that.
Well, folks can go to powerofprophecy.com, powerofprophecy.com, or call us toll free 1-800-234-96. 96. My goodness.
I'm the same way.
I've only been there 22 years.
Listen, I've got so many computer codes and house codes and safe codes and gun safe codes.
9670.
Give it out. Give it out. I'm the same way.
1-800-234-9670.
This morning I had to call the guys because I got here first. I had to call and say, what's the code to the office? So much. I mean, it's kind of like absent-minded professor.
As long as you remember your wife's birthday and your anniversary, you're safe, Alex. Just remember that. As a young man, I remember those two things.
But give them the number.
Yeah, 1-800-234-9670, and ask for the free edition, the newsletter.
Give it again.
Power Prophecy. 1-800-234-9670. Okay.
Hey, Texe, awesome having you here.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you much for coming in and say hi to the whole crew and to Wanda for me.
God bless you, and keep up your great work here. And these people are out there that are disinformation agents, paid operatives of Mossad and the CIA. Hey, they're there because they're worried because you're making an impact. That's why they've targeted folks like you and me. And this audience out there has to know this is our time. Talk about what Obama said. This is our opportunity to tell the absolute unvarnished truth.
Texe, thanks for coming in.
All right, my friend. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right.